Let's talk about the 5 biggest mistakes that innocent people make that lead to domestic violence charges. It happens all the time. My name is Veronica. I am a criminal defense attorney here in California, and I help people who have been arrested put their criminal cases behind them so that they can enjoy their lives and their freedom. And again, in this video, I'm going to be talking about the 5 biggest mistakes that innocent people make that lead to domestic violence charges. Now, for this, the key word here really is innocent, and I do see this all of the time. I've been doing this for about 10 years, and I've seen so many couples that just have a fight. It leads to one of them being arrested. So imagine we have a couple who is arguing, but there's no violence. Maybe they're in an apartment and the neighbors call the cops. Now, many innocent people, this is the trap, will often think, well, I did nothing wrong, so I'll just be open, I'll be honest, all will be fine, right? Especially because the two of you are on the same side. That is not what you should do. Do you want to spend the night in jail? Do you want to spend $5,000 that you will never get back on bail? Do you want to get a criminal record? If you answered no, then stay tuned. All right, so number one is, so the cops show up. Letting the cops inside or agreeing to go outside is a big mistake. In general, you don't have to let the cops in. They don't have any kind of warrant. They show up, they get a call maybe from a neighbor, maybe from you, and it depends on the contents of the call. If you say, you know what, he's stabbing me, he's killing me, they're probably going to break down the door. But if, like, say a neighbor calls or you call and say, you know, he slapped me in the face, now I'm in the next room, they're probably not going to be able to do anything like that. So just letting them come on in, going outside voluntarily to speak with them is a huge mistake, because once you do that, it doesn't matter how innocent you are, you have trained professionals whose job it is, whose mission when they came to your house, your apartment, whatever, was to arrest someone. And they probably are going to do so. But if they show up, it's quiet. There's absolutely nothing. Nobody's screaming, nobody's yelling. It's just quiet. It's very unlikely that they are going to be able to come inside. Now, you may be thinking, well, but how would I know? You know, we were arguing. I didn't know that the neighbor called the cops. Or, hey, you know, I called the cops, but I didn't think that they would actually come out, whatever. They will obviously knock on the door, right? They'll say LAPD, LA County Sheriff's Department, whatever it may be. And just know you have the right to not open the door. You actually could just do nothing and not answer and just be completely quiet. Now, if the two of you were yelling and screaming and you were saying, stop hitting me or something like that right before, then you would want to probably answer and speak to them. But again, in this scenario, everybody's innocent, so why would you be saying that? Number two is for either person to let the police take pictures of your body, your face, whatever, to document so-called injuries. I've had alleged victims who said, well, I got Botox, so that's why I had a bruise. I got filler in my lip, so it was bruised. And the police still document, they still take pictures. And those people not only had to pay $5,000 to bond out, they also had to hire me for me to show the DA these pictures and say, look, here's a receipt for the voluma, whatever, you know, that she got in her lips. And that actually wasn't a fat lip caused by any kind of hitting or anything. The thing is that if you are supposedly a victim of a crime, you don't have to let the cops take pictures of you. And it can be really, really hard in those situations to feel like, they make you feel like you have to let them. They make you feel like, you know, you're going to have to just turn and, you know, pull up your shirt or pull up your short leg or whatever so that they can take pictures of you. You don't have to do that. If you are the alleged victim, you're not being detained. You can be like, F this and leave. Go back inside. If you made the mistake, unfortunately, of going outside, walk away. You don't have to let them stand there. You don't have to, like, hold out your arm or hold out any of your limbs or lift up any of your clothing to let them take pictures. Absolutely not. Number three is, so many times the cops will say, look, we're going to be arresting somebody. It's up to you guys who we are going to arrest. And that is when people feel pressure to make statements, you know? first of all, if there's already an argument going on, you're not feeling that generous toward your partner. But if there was no domestic violence, you don't want them to be charged with domestic violence, right? So they catch you kind of in a bad position where you're like, well, man, for my job, I really can't have anything on my record. Maybe he'll be okay, or, I don't know how this relationship is going. That is, to some extent, what they're counting on. That when they say it's going to be you or him, that you're like, well, don't make it me. Or maybe you have children you're taking care of or something. And so you make some statement. You're like, well, if you're going to say it's him, you're going to have to tell us what he did. Did he hit you? Did he grab you? What did he do? And that's when we'll have these statements. And the problem with that is maybe they were going to arrest somebody anyway. I actually don't, in my opinion and in my experience, it is not always true that they do arrest someone. But let's say that they do. It's usually like a big basis for it will be, they have to write a police report and say why. It's never just we showed up and so we decided that we had to arrest someone. They never put that in the police report. They always are able to trick someone when it gets to the point of a police report into saying something. So don't fall for it. Just if they're going to arrest someone anyway, just let them. If one of you is on like parole or probation or something, you probably don't want that person arrested. But again, if you have no criminal history and that person does, they're probably going to arrest him anyway. So it's better to just it's better to just not make any statements there at all. Don't get tricked. They're going to do what they're going to do. And at this point, if they're already saying that we're going to arrest someone, what you need to do is not make their case stronger against that person. That is your goal. A long time ago, way before I was a criminal defense attorney, I heard from a DUI lawyer that if you get pulled over for a DUI, and I don't do DUIs, this is not my advice, but if you get pulled over for a DUI and you've been drinking and you get pulled over, basically, at that point, you should accept that you are going to be arrested, and your goal is to not generate more evidence that you're drunk, right? So why would you do the field sobriety test? You had like 5 beers and then you're going to do the field sobriety tests, You're going to just keep talking and talking so that they can say, oh, there was a strong odor of alcoholic beverage on his breath. No. You have to, if you accept, okay, they're going to arrest me, but what I want to do is make sure that they don't have enough evidence to convict me, or maybe even for the DA to not file charges against me because it's so thin, that is so much better for you. So basically when they come out, if they're saying that and they're saying we're going to arrest somebody, don't make their case stronger. Number 4, and I see this a lot, is thinking that if nothing really happened and you tell the police, I don't want him to be arrested, I don't want her to be arrested, or maybe you say something did happen, but then you say, but I don't want him to be arrested, that will work. It will not. If you say, the cops tell you, hey, it's going to be either you or him that's getting arrested, you have a baby or something, and you think, well, I can just say, yeah, I want him arrested. They say, what did he do? You say, okay, he hit me. If you really want me to say something, he hit me. If you think, well, it'll be easy to take that back later. Of course, he's innocent. I'm going to be able to get them to drop these charges. I won't press charges. There won't be any charges against him. That is not the case. And so many times I have, the named victims of domestic violence cases calling me, asking me, what can I do about this? Telling me that the cops threatened to take their kids away or whatever it may be that made them make this statement. Or maybe they attacked the other person and then the other person was defending themselves. Cops come out. You cannot take it back. Whatever you say to the cops, they probably have on body-worn video, and it's going to be really difficult for you to take it back. Of course, if charges haven't been filed, if the other party has no criminal history, the person who gets arrested, there's a very good chance that it can get dismissed before court. But the chances get worse if you give them more evidence. So that is number 4. And number 5 is, and I hear this all the time, unfortunately, from defendants who will say, look, I got into a fight with my girlfriend. She was attacking me. I was just holding her back. Yeah, she did have some redness on her wrist, but that's because I was holding her with my hands and she was attacking me. Something like that, right? Where it really is, it is self-defense. And so I say, okay, and you're telling me what? She scratched you, she bit you, she gave you a black eye, and they'll say, well, yeah. And I'm like, perfect. So if you could just go ahead and send me the pictures, I'll send you a Dropbox link. And they're like, well, actually, no, I don't have any pictures. The cops took pictures of me, though, so it'll be in the police report. A big problem with that is, first of all, those types of photos, unfortunately, tend to go missing or be low quality. Second of all, if we have a decent chance at getting the case dismissed, so if you have no criminal history or like very little criminal history and not domestic violence, and there's some time before your court date, we want to make sure that the DA sees those photos, and many times they'll only see the police report with no photos. It's crazy, right? You would think it all comes together in a package, and it should, but it usually doesn't. So we want to have our own photos. So when you get bonded out and you come home, rest, relax a little bit, but then take photos of all of your injuries yourself so that we have them. Even if it's a bit faded, that's better than nothing. Anyway, I hope that you found this video helpful. If you do have a domestic violence case in California, feel free to give me a call. You can find my number down below, and you can also book a consultation with me via the link right below.